Present.
1.
Preston Mercer pointed at the script on the table with terror-stricken eyes, his voice trembling. This isn't a murder mystery game. This is a real murder case. Those words silenced everyone. After a pause, Jace Bradford spoke, disagreeing with Preston Mercer. Brother 3, did you drink too much? Preston Mercer stumbled to his feet, swept the scripts off the table, his face deathly pale, his eyes darting between us, stammering. Stop playing, stop. Preston Mercer's demeanor was manic. I quickly stood to steady him, but he shook me off and stared at Jace Bradford. I don't believe you haven't all figured out what this script describes. 13 years ago, Jade. The name Jade falling from Preston Mercer's mouth seemed to break some taboo. A figure suddenly emerged and punched Preston Mercer. It was Logan Lawson. His eyes were fierce. What are you trying to say? What about 13 years ago? What about Jade? She's dead. Jade is dead. So what? The police said she committed suicide. Preston Mercer covered his face where he was hit, his consciousness suddenly clearing. He said, "Yes, she committed suicide." Standing to the side, listening to their conversation with hidden meanings, I spoke up. What are you guys talking about? Jade? A murder case? The atmosphere turned cold. Jace Bradford stood up. That's enough. This scenario's bad luck. Let's stop playing. I grabbed him. Why can't we play? Why does a script make you all connect it to something from 13 years ago? Why? Before I finished, Jace Bradford roughly shook me off. Damn it, I said stop. The usually calm man now had veins bulging in his forehead. He cursed and tried to open the door. Click. He pulled but couldn't open it. Jace Bradford pounded on the door frantically. Open up. We're done playing. Preston Mercer also crawled to the door and shouted. In the narrow space, Logan Lawson embraced Vivian, and both their faces were coldly indifferent. Everyone. The speaker crackled with a costume girl's voice. You can't leave during gameplay. The door opens only when you find the real killer and end the game. 2. Hearing this, the already fragile Preston Mercer completely broke down. He crouched down, holding his head. I knew it. This was premeditated. She wants to kill us. Jace Bradford didn't believe it. He called Logan Lawson to kick the door with him, smashing it repeatedly with a chair. Wooden fragments fell away, revealing the material inside. Jace Bradford ground his teeth. It's iron underneath. Right. This was a wooden door disguised over an iron one. Now nobody could leave. Then the silent Vivian spoke. Call the police. It won't help. I shook my head. When we entered, I'd noticed the room had no signal. Not just signal, no outlets either. Everyone's face went white. I suggested, why don't we just finish this scenario? No, Jace Bradford's tone was serious. We can't play this. Why not? I asked coldly. Because the person who killed Jade is among us? 3. Jace Bradford stared at me blankly. No, she committed suicide. Really suicide? Then why did Brother 3 say this is a murder case when he saw the script? I pressed. Jace Bradford went silent. I continued. Back then, everyone whispered that she was pushed. If that's true, the person who pushed her is right here. I'm going to find them and give Jade justice. What right do you have to seek justice for her? She was just a lowlife whore. You don't even know her. Jace Bradford spat. I punched him in his shit-spewing mouth directly. I stared at Jace Bradford coldly, word by word.
M-O-D-H-U-D.
Jace Bradford was about to say something when suddenly Preston Mercer screamed.
Fog.
She's coming. I only then noticed the room filling with acrid white smoke. At the same time, the female voice came from the speaker. Everyone, the gas being released is called chlorine. Don't worry, it's diluted. If you can't identify the killer, you'll be punished. For example, with non-diluted chlorine filling the room. Have fun. The voice disappeared. I stared at the billowing white smoke in shock. Chlorine. This stuff can kill. The acrid smell filled the room, permeating it with the stench of death. Suddenly, Vivian in Logan Lawson's arms began to whimper. Maybe we should continue. I don't want to die here. Staying alive was more important than hiding the truth. Jace Bradford coldly glanced at Preston Mercer, cowering. This is all your fault for bringing us here. Jace Bradford. I didn't know. If only time could rewind. I'm sure Preston Mercer would rather die than step into this place. But there's no if.
4.
I sat before the table and opened my script, speaking first. That evening, White asked me to meet her. I don't know what she wanted to tell me. Jace Bradford took a sharp breath. You know Jade. I moved my fingers and answered quietly. Not very well. After a moment, it was Jace Bradford's turn to speak, but he stayed silent, unwilling to say a word. In fact, nobody wanted to speak. Only Vivian did. She reached out to me.
She said she wanted to give me something.
I don't know what, but I was busy preparing for the next day's exam, so I didn't go. I nodded, then stood and opened a box that had been closed in the center of the table. Preston Mercer slightly raised his head, seeming to want to stop me, then gave up, watching as I opened the box and revealed its contents. A stack of cards printed with clue. I distributed several to each person, then sat down and opened one. First card. This is a torn letter, apparently something White wanted to write to someone. Second card. The railing on the roof shows signs of violent impact. Third card. The body bears numerous bruises. Some marks have faded, indicating the victim suffered repeated abuse before death. I read these aloud, then gestured to the others. Read what's on yours. Nobody spoke. I raised my voice. Read or you'll die. I'll read. Preston Mercer choked out. 1. She was an isolated child. Surprisingly, she had a friend named Vivian. It was Vivian. These cards used real names. Everyone's eyes turned to Vivian. She nodded. I guess you could say so. We were in the same class. When other classmates ostracized her, I defended her a few times. We talked a bit after that. She finished, so Preston Mercer continued. 2. Someone said they saw her on a phone call, very angry. 3. This is her phone, but strangely, there's nothing on it. Deleted, I suddenly said. Whoever deleted the messages is definitely the killer. Preston Mercer looked at me, then the others, and finally closed his mouth.
5.
It was Jace Bradford's turn. He coldly snorted and threw his cards in the center. See for yourselves. I'm definitely not the killer. I scanned them, nothing useful, so I looked at the remaining 2. Under the dim light, Logan Lawson and Vivian sat close together, their cards gripped tightly in their hands, refusing to show. Why won't you show us? I asked. But Logan Lawson wasn't looking at me. His gaze swept over the cowering Preston Mercer and finally landed on Jace Bradford. Should we let him see? Should we show him what we used to do? Jace Bradford's face suddenly went pale, as if he'd remembered something. He hesitantly said, "But originally he was supposed to. But Ethan never went through with it," Logan Lawson interrupted coldly. Jace Bradford looked like a wilted eggplant, dejected. I was confused. What are you all hiding from me? After a long silence, Jace Bradford finally made up his mind. He said, "Show him. Ethan's smart. Maybe he can find the killer. I don't want to die here." This seemed to take all of Jace Bradford's strength. After speaking, he collapsed weakly in his chair, letting things unfold. Since Jace Bradford said so, Logan Lawson stopped hiding. He smiled coldly and threw his cards to me. White's mother said one night, when it was quiet, she heard her daughter on the phone with someone, and she happened to hear a name, Jace Bradford. 2 months before the exam, she got sick. With no money, she went to a small clinic. The clinic owner's son was named Logan Lawson. This is a camera found in Preston's house. It's full of videos and photos of her being tortured. Logan was Logan Lawson's name, and Preston was Preston Mercer's. I stared at Preston Mercer in disbelief. What does this mean? Preston Mercer flinched, burying his head deeper. His stammering voice came.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me who did it. Huh. Logan Lawson laughed coldly. What's left to hide now? He turned to face me. I don't know why you're so fixated on this case, but it doesn't matter. She's already dead. I want to live. You all want to live. To live, we have to deal with this. So I'll tell you. But remember, you were originally supposed to be part of this too.